We're in informal session for September the 23rd, and our topic, among others, might be Clermont County Water Resource Department Strategic Plan Update, 2015 through 2020, and we have Lyle Bloom, Director of the Water Resource Department, to review that with us.
Thank you. So in 2009, the Water Resource Department developed a strategic plan. There was a 5-year plan that went from 2009 to 2014. So we're ready for the update of that plan. The strategic plan basically defines an organization's direction or strategy. It sets goals, determines actions to achieve those goals, and helps to allocate resources to execute the actions. I'll warn you, there's just a lot of text with this presentation. It's not, there's not a lot of there's no diagrams, no pictures, and that's what a plan is. It's just, it's a direction.
No pictures?
A lot of, no pictures. Paul told me it's boring, and I agree. To me,
But it's important to review.
Planning is boring, but
important to review,
I'll go
and we
through.
thank you.
At the end is kind of the meat and potatoes, and that's what I'll focus mostly on. So I'm going to go through a lot of these slides quickly, but then I'll focus on some of the slides towards the end. So our mission for the Water Resource Department remains the same from our previous plan. It's to provide current and future customers with a dependable, safe, and high-quality supply of drinking water and advanced treatment and disposal of wastewater and residuals at affordable rates with courteous and timely customer service while cooperating with other agencies to protect and preserve our natural water resources and environment. Our vision also remains the same. It's to sustain a benchmark utility that sets the standard for water resource management and effective public service and is recognized and emulated by others for its level of excellence and leadership. We have 6 core services that we provide through the Water Resources Department. We have customer service, drinking water, wastewater treatment, engineering, environmental quality, which also includes the solid waste district, and financial. I'm not going to read the entire business model. It's there if you'd like to. We also have copies of the strategic plan on the table. Basically, our business model, we're customer service driven, we're non-subsidized, we're an enterprise fund, we're funded, and our funds are generated through capacity fees and user fees paid by our customers. That's our business model in a nutshell. Strategic goals, we have 10 different goals that are important to the Water Resources Department. These are very general goals. Customer satisfaction, water resource availability, product quality, infrastructure stability, operational optimization, community sustainability and environmental stewardship, financial viability, customer understanding and support, succession planning, job retention and training, and operational resiliency. Our objectives for the Water Resource Department are identified for each of the core services. So we have the 6 core services, and they help achieve our mission and vision. Each of the objectives are aligned with one or more of the 10 strategic goals. So we have our core services there listed on the left, our strategic goals listed on the right, and if you look at the strategic plan that I handed out, there's 52 objectives throughout the strategic plan, so I don't want to, obviously, we're not going to go through each one of those. They're very general. They're not necessarily measurable, so I'm not going to focus on those too much. But if you look at, say, page 7, that it lists our objectives for drinking water, and if you just look at the first one, the first objective is to effectively operate and maintain the department's 3 drinking water treatment plants and maintain compliance with all drinking water regulations. And those align with, actually in this case, 3 different strategic goals: water resource availability, product quality, and customer satisfaction. Again, we have 52 of these individual goals for each department has their own set, or each core service has their own set of goals. What I think are probably more important, and these are measurables, are our annual performance indicators. And these are to better measure our success as an organization. They're used to help determine whether or not we've been successful in meeting our strategic goals and program objectives. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. I don't know who said that, but it's quoted all over the place, so I put it into quotes. These are what I'm going to focus on a little bit more, are our annual performance indicators. For customer satisfaction, we want our average water bill and sewer bill should be at or below the median rate for similar sized utilities in our region. You'll notice some of these are bold. These are new performance indicators that were added from the previous strategic plan. We want a complete installation and implementation of our AMI, AMR system by 2018 to help improve timeliness and accuracy of our water meter reads and billing information. We strive for live contact. Voicemail should be returned within 1 hour, and information will request within 24 hours. Customers with requests that require field visits should receive a response within 48 hours, except emergencies, which are addressed within 2 hours. We want to respond to any major water meter and service line leaks within 24 hours and minor leaks within 48. Complete new installations of water meters within 2 weeks of the request. We want none of our customers to experience sewer backups caused by an issue with the public sewer system. They do occur from time to time, but our goal is to have none. No odor complaints. Any odor should be restricted to on-site operations. So what that means is if you're at the treatment plant, on the grounds of the treatment plant, you may have odors, but we don't want those to escape onto neighboring properties. Our annual performance indicators for water resource availability. When our peak consumption day reaches 80% of the fixed capacity, the department will begin the process to expand our water supply and treatment capabilities. I don't anticipate this to be an issue during this 5-year for this strategic plan, since we upgraded the BMW plant, but we'll leave it in there in the event we do experience some major growth throughout the county. Implement source water and watershed protection plans for all drinking water sources. We have source water protection plans that are endorsed by EPA, and our plan is we've begun endorsing those. We want to continue, supporting those and implementing those, and we want to continue with that. We target water pressures between 40 and 80 psi. We do have some areas that are much greater than that in our low-lying areas near rivers. The system is divided into 5 pressure zones to help accomplish this goal. We respond to water main breaks within 2 hours, maintain pressure necessary for firefighting activities 100% of the time, and correct any hydrant problems that are reported within 30 days of the initial inspection. For product quality, for drinking water quality, we want to meet or exceed 100% of permit requirements, meet and stay under the maximum contaminant levels 100% of the time. The last time we had a drinking water violation, a treatment violation, was, I believe, in 2002. So we've done well the past 13 years meeting this indicator. Wastewater treatment quality, meet or exceed 100% of our EPA permit requirements. Wastewater overflows, we want to limit our wastewater overflows from the collection system to less than 2 per 100 miles of collection system per year. That number, 2 per 100 miles, we have 700 miles of collection system, so we would like to be less than 14 per year. In a report to Congress, EPA identified the average throughout the country is 4 per 100 miles. We would like to be well below that. It's a goal. We may not always meet it. Sometimes it's weather dependent. If we have a very, very wet summer.
Do we report these?
Any bypass is reported to Ohio EPA.
Okay. Yes.
Beneficial use of biosolids.
And to the general public or to the Board of County Commissioners rather than to the EPA?
Not always.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Beneficial use of biosolids. At least 20% of our biosolids produced annually will be land applied for beneficial use.
What is our percentage now?
Currently about 20%. We're somewhat limited. EPA requires that we sample the fields prior to land application to determine the current phosphorus load on the field, and if there's already too much phosphorus in the ground, we can't apply more with our biosolids. Infrastructure stability, we want to replace about 20,000 feet of water main per year as part of our water main replacement program. This equates to about 0.5% per year of our distribution system. Following this 5-year, I see that number per year to increase to keep up. On average, we want to replace a water main every 80 years. That's about the useful life of a water main. So we'll need to increase that probably closer to 1% per year, or double that number to 40,000 per year. On average, we want to rehab approximately 15,000 feet of sanitary sewer as part of our collection system rehabilitation program. We're currently meeting that target, and we'll continue that throughout this 5-year program. Conduct sanitary sewer improvements to convey, store, and treat peak flows and eliminate sanitary sewer overflows. Develop and maintain a comprehensive inventory and condition assessment of all sanitary sewers through televised inspection every 10 years. And we do that in-house using our CCTV truck. We've got crews that go out and do that daily. Inspect water tanks on a 10-year cycle and repaint the tanks at least every 20 years. Maintain water main break and leak rates below 36 per 100 miles of water main per year. Again, that is based on an AWWA standard. That's about the average across the country. Right now, we're a little above that, but as we continue implementing our water main replacement program, hopefully our numbers will come down.
Would you say our total miles of water main?
We are at
Approximately.
800 miles. So that would be 288 breaks a year. We have about 360 on average per year.
A lot of this, though, is the old.
Correct. And as we replace some of that old original cast iron system, our break rates should decrease.
So we have 700 miles of sewer
Mhm.
and 800 miles of water.
Correct.
Huh.
For operational optimization, we want to have no water use restrictions during periods of peak demand. I believe in the late 80s, we had some mandatory water restrictions.
Yes, we did.
Mr. Proud might remember those.
I did as a fire chief, too.
Yes, yes. In 2012, we actually did a voluntary reduction. That was during a very bad drought, and we hadn't completed expansion of the Bob's Q plant. A lot of our water tanks were very low. We were concerned. Shortly after we issued that, we had the windstorm that came through, I forget the name of it, but it was those winds that took power out throughout a lot of the county. But our goal, of course, is to have no restrictions for our customers.
Well, as with the addition of the elevated storage tanks
Correct.
and everything, that really helped.
That does help. Thoroughly review and provide annual updates to our emergency water contingency plan. Clean and rehabilitate our wells when the sustained yield decreases to 75% of the initial yield, and that will help us maintain our capacity at our groundwater treatment plants. Maintain minimum free chlorine levels in water mains. The target number is 0.2 to 4 milligrams per liter. Maintain the ability to treat design flows at each of our wastewater plants. Clean all sanitary sewers on a 6-year cycle. We do that in-house as well. Clean surge tanks and wet wells annually. Test 1,000 valves and valve boxes per year and repair as needed. We have over 15,000 valves in our system. So that would be, each valve's going to be exercised and repaired if necessary once every 15 years.
Now, are they 100% mapped now?
To the best of my knowledge, yes. There's always that straggler or two out there that we were unaware of that don't get recorded accurately, but yes, we have very good records on our valves, hydrants. All of our infrastructure is mapped in GIS. We have a very good GIS system.
Good. Wasn't always that way.
That's correct. It makes our customer service much better if we're able to have that information at our fingertips. By 2020, and this would be after we have our AMI system in place, my next goal is to implement a computerized maintenance management system, or a CMMS, to track maintenance activities and assist with preventive and predictive maintenance needs.
Now, when you were talking about the wells too, is there a plan on exploring additional wells?
Correct.
Part of this?
We have some additional property along the Ohio River that we would like to use in the future when we need that additional capacity for additional well fields. And as properties become available, we'll consider those for well field expansion as well.
So then we only use the wells when we need additional? I mean, when do we switch back and forth?
Between surface water and groundwater,
Yes.
we treat as much water as we can through our groundwater treatment plants because it's much less expensive to treat
And using groundwater.
than using surface water, than treating surface water. All the plants run 100% of the time. The BMW plant, which is surface water, is operating at the lowest level it can. They're about 3 or 4 million gallons a day that they produce. Right now, we're averaging probably 12 to 14 million gallons a day. The rest of that 12 to 14 is coming from our 2 groundwater plants.
So we're using both groundwater and surface water on a regular basis.
Correct.
Try to use as much groundwater as we can based on what we have available.
Correct.
And
I know.
that goes to various segments of so groundwater may go to one segment and,
Our system's interconnected, so
yeah,
it could end up anywhere.
could be
We have a good idea of what portions of our
Right.
system are served by the surface water, but in theory, it could end
could
up.
be anywhere. Yep.
Do we ever practice as an emergency, the accessing the Hamilton County water supply? I know we have a connection there.
We've done that we've been in an emergency. Actually, in 2012, we opened those up when we had the voluntary water reduction. And they supplied us, I think it was around 3 million gallons a day of water. And then there's been the other reverse where they've had issues in their distribution system and we've supplied them water when we're doing maintenance
They're
needs.
getting almost 100% from the Ohio River, correct?
Correct,
That's why they may have more in those situations.
yes. They do have some groundwater, a groundwater plant as well, but their largest plant is the surface water plant from the river. Annual performance indicators for community sustainability and environmental stewardship. Provide access to our septic receiving station for county customers at least 8 hours a day, 365 days a year, and sample at least 10% of the loads received. And these would be for the septic haulers. They dump their loads at our Middle East Fork Treatment Plant, and we make that available to them, again, 365 days a year.
You still have the card system?
No. They purchase tickets at our customer service counter, and then they deposit those tickets at the treatment plant. Host or partner with 3 volunteer community cleanups each year. That would be the East Fork River Sweep, Clean and Green, and the Ohio River Sweep, and that's done through our Office of Environmental Quality. Implement the solid waste management plan and update every 5 years, again through the Office of Environmental Quality. Assure computer and other electronic waste disposal or recycling options are available for residents. That's Paul's group still, Office of Environmental Quality. And collect litter on at least 500 miles of Clermont County roadways annually, and that is through a partnership with the municipal courts and community service. We're able to accomplish that. Financial viability, we want to maintain Moody's underlying bond ratings at or above A.
We're double A?
No, we're
A plus?
for the revenue bonds.
Yeah, okay.
Debt service coverage greater than or equal to 120%. The previous report had 110%, and Suki informed me we needed to increase that to 120.
Right, our last, when we refinanced, they wanted to change that from 110 to 120, when we did that back in 2013.
Collection rate greater than 95%. Maintain a $5 million reserve in our water capital improvement fund for unanticipated capital expenditures. We are starting to dip into that $5 million reserve currently. Maintain a $5 million reserve in sewer capital. That is we've got that reserve in place. We don't anticipate needing to get into that in the near future.
On the collection rate, what actually is the bad debt?
We're writing off, probably less than 3%. I mean, it's very small because of our options with the shut-offs and then the certifications. So typically our write-off is people that transfer properties and they leave remaining balances on.
Customer understanding and support. This is something we're going to begin to do with this now, is publish annual results of our performance indicators from the strategic plan. We'll publish that report on our website for customers to see, or the general public to see, how we've performed over the year. Target at least 5 different environmental quality themes with the public education program. Provide 175 in-school environmental presentations to K through 12 students annually. Items 2 and 3 are through a partnership with the Soil and Water Conservation District. Publish an annual water quality monitoring report. Office of Environmental Quality publishes a report, as well as our Water Treatment Division publishes a consumer confidence report to all of our drinking water customers. Publish quarterly environmental electronic newsletters, provide monthly updates and project-specific information on the Water Resource Department website, and post all public meetings on our website as well. Succession planning, job retention, and training. We want to provide formal orientation and onboarding for all new employees. Employees will receive an average of 20 hours of training annually. We'll continue a regular safety committee meeting, provide regular safety training events for all Water Resource Department employees. Supervisory training will be offered to aspiring employees as well as current supervisors on an annual basis. Operational resiliency. 100% of our wastewater plants, or actually both water and wastewater treatment plants, will have licensed operators with a Class 1 or higher certificate. New hire unlicensed operators will have 2 years to successfully complete the licensing requirement. Provide resources and training to maintain a safe and knowledgeable workforce and 0 loss of time workplace injuries. That's a goal in our industries. Sometimes that's not always achievable. So in summary, our strategic plan is a management tool to help allocate resources and plan for the future. It'll help us measure our success and identify any needs, and it will be reviewed and referenced with performance results issued annually.
We talked about interconnects with Hamilton County. Do we have interconnects for water with other counties or not?
Not with other counties, other water providers.
Other water providers within
Yep.
Clermont County.
Correct. We have cross connections with Tate Monroe, Western Water, and we do not have any with Brown County Rural. We also are interconnected with Loveland, the city of Milford, I believe, and
Richmond.
And New Richmond, yes.
Okay.
That's it. We supply all the water to the village of Williamsburg.
Any other questions? We've kind of asked as we went along. Question?
How about the SCADA system? How's that working?
Great. That's actually reduced our call-outs significantly on our wastewater side. Call-outs for alarms at lift stations, it's reduced drastically. I wish I had the data to show our bypasses at lift stations due to the malfunctioning
So we shifted
telemeter
that
system.
from a radio system to.
It was a telephone system. It was
Telephone.
telemeter, and it was there was a signal with a dot matrix printer that would print out at our Bob McEwen water treatment plant, and the water treatment plant operator, and this were for after hours, would get these printouts and sort through lines of code and try and pick out the alarms off of it. It was not an easy task. So it's greatly improved our customer service and our
We've gone
response
to
time. on
data.
this.
We've gone to data connections with wireless provider like Verizon or others.
Correct. Our SCADA is all through Verizon. We have our wastewater plants on that as well,
Okay.
for our lift stations and wastewater plants.
Big improvement.
Great improvement, yes.
One thing, your flag at East Fork is very faded.
At the Bob McEwen plant?
No, I'm sorry, East Fork, I'm sorry, I don't mean that. I mean that, they're off 50.
Lower East Fork.
Lower East Fork.
All right,
yeah.
I'll take care of that.
It's very faded.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other questions?
No,
Thank you.
Bauxite,
Anything-
bauxite, do we still use a lot of that
Yes,
for
we
the
do.
odor?
Yes, we do. We're trying to reduce that because it's an expense
It's
for us.
expensive.
Yes, but Brian Gruber, who is over our electro maintenance and he manages the lift stations, has been studying that to try and reduce the dioxide to the greatest extent possible. It's one of those, you continue to have to use it for odor control and for corrosion control at the lift stations, but he's reducing that to hopefully reduce our costs.
Because bauxite, is not corrosive?
Say that, ag-
Corrosive?
no, it is not.
Not.
No.
We were using something before that was corrosive.
When we were in contract operations,
Yes.
they used a different product.
We're going to talk about that.
That's correct.
Anything else? Any other items we should talk about in informal session? Okay, then that concludes our business for today, and we're adjourned.